happy to be here today to talk with Mike about one of my dearest places in Bucharest, a place where you go and you become creative just as you step in. So Mike, could you please tell us more about this new and very cool place that is so loved nowadays in the business and entrepreneurship ecosystem?
Yes, so first, it is new still. It's been around, at least locally, for about 1 year and 2 months. The company is 5-6 years old. It's actually an idea of 2 friends that first set it up in Tel Aviv, and since then it extended to 7 countries, and it's 30+ locations, including here. It's 2 locations locally. But it's important to first explain what we do, since actually,
yes, the concept
since
itself.
Actually Mindspace as a brand started to be recognized, which is good. However, most people don't really understand what we do. Why? Because up until 1 year ago, when we entered the market, co-working, as we call it, was basically the hub type, right? A hub meaning an open space in which you can, as an individual, go rent a desk in a very flexible way and work, and you have the vibe, the community, and it's fun, right? Replacing the home or the coffee shop with a different type of work environment. And then Mindspace came in with a different concept. So there's 2 different concepts in this co-working world. And that's why we're actually trying to get away from co-working, but to go towards the flexible office to differentiate the 2 categories. So what does Mindspace do? If you think of the hub type, again, community, but mainly for freelancers and no office space, no rooms, right? No offices. It's just a big open space. Fun, but no office space. But then if you think of the business world, the corporate world, companies cannot work from an open space. They need privacy, they need security, right? So they must have their own private offices. So the corporate world has the private offices, no community. The hubs have the community without private offices. And that's where Mindspace comes in, with a combination of the 2, which means the hub environment, fun, events, community, multiple clients, of course, but combining that with private offices for corporations. So this is the most important thing to understand, since it's 2 completely different directions. We do target companies, but at the same time freelancers as well. So if a hub can only host mostly freelancers or maybe small companies, 2, 3, 4 people, since it's mostly about open space, then we can really go from 1 person, freelancers, all the way to companies that have hundreds of people.
Wow, this is really useful to explain it like this. I didn't know really the difference between them in the way you presented it. What kind of companies are coming there? What's the number of, I don't know, from the smallest to the biggest, to the larger one?
Well, since we can really have anyone in our space, from an individual to companies, here's a few examples. Let's look at a startup, right? So a startup or a small company that typically can only work or have access to an apartment, maybe a villa, will never access a Class A building, right? If you come to Mindspace, for example, take into account that this is a membership type, all-inclusive, meaning includes everything: cleaning, security, internet, coffee, the community itself, everything. As a startup, it's actually quite an advantage to not worry about anything, since you don't have to worry about maintenance. You are in a modern building and Class A building, right? You don't have to worry about cleaning, which actually, you know, people or lack of people is an issue, right? So cleaning staff is out, what do? You have to worry about that. You don't have to worry about having multiple suppliers for coffee, water, whatever, and probably many times also at some point having an extra person handling that. So this is just a peace of mind, which for startups is just great. Not to take into account the fact that as a startup, you have the opportunity to mingle with tons of other companies. So that's one option. think of companies that enter the market, big companies now, right? And we have a few examples of those multinationals enter the market. They do want to reach 150, 200 people in the next year and a half or so, right? They come in, they want to grow. The traditional option is to rent a space somewhere, a floor. You put a lot of money into fit out, right? Don't forget, with us, everything is done already, right? You come in, you work, you leave whenever you want. It's that simple. You invest no money in anything, right? So as a new company, you rent a space for 5 years because that's the minimum. You put a lot of money into it, but then for the first year or two, you have it most of the time empty. So you pay full, but in the first month, you have 2 people, 3 people, 4, whatever, you grow. With us, one company started with 6, and then it keeps growing. Right now, there are 12, so they pay 6 or 12. So the financial efficiency is excellent. Okay. Yeah, it's what we call pay as you grow. The other company, an India company, they started with 18. Again, they want to reach 200 people. So rather than paying a lot of money for a space for 200 people, they just pay for an office of 18 people and that's it. Okay? Another reason why company or what kind of companies are coming in, it's a good example of a company we had in our Pipera location where we have 2 floors. So there was a company that came in and took a full floor, 350 people. Why? It's a big multinational. They had a project. So what do you do when you have a project? And we know that there are a lot of, especially in the IT world, it's all project-based. So they had a project. They didn't even know if the project was going to be for 8 months, 12 months, whatever. So again, traditionally speaking, go out, get a full floor, put a lot of money into it, and then after about a year, you leave. What do you do when you have a lease for 5 years, right? So again, they came in, fit out is done, came in, worked, project was done, left. They knew exactly how much they paid, since it's, again, per person for that time frame, not a penny extra, and it's all inclusive, right, including printing and copy, everything. So it just makes life much, much easier. So it really became a need. It's actually a need that companies do have. And companies do need flexibility these days. Actually,
they need to have time to focus on their business.
Exactly.
And not on the administrative part, which is so...
Which is relevant to startups, and it's relevant to mid-sized companies, and it's relevant to multinationals. And if we think about the fact that it's just making your life easier and you have flexibility, which is not only something that you as a company need, but something that your employees want and need, then again, it's just kind of a win-win. So it's a need that companies have. And right now, they really started to discover this concept. They started to discover that, co-working is not only for freelancers, it's not only a hub. And then it's just becoming, bigger and bigger, which is great. It's just a win-win for everybody.
That's definitely true. I know it from my own business, and this is a hassle to take care about everything and be present in all kinds of activities of a company. That's being there is definitely a big advantage. Tell us about the industries, the core businesses of the companies that are there. Just as an idea, because I expect that IT, technology companies, I'm a lawyer, so for me, it would be a very nice idea to think about this and to consider it as an office. I don't know too many law firms, just 1 or 2 that are there. I don't know. What kind of other companies are coming there? Because
it's actually, it's hard to really point to a specific industry, since it's a pretty nice and cool mix of companies, from lawyers to advertising to InnovX, to a huge oil and gas company, one of the largest oil and gas companies that has a department in Mindspace, to really consultancy. Cool. I cannot say the name, but the company that occupied a full floor is one of the largest consultancy companies. So it's really a mix of everything, and for multiple reasons, since they all need a space like this for different reasons. And what's interesting now is that this concept is not only now relevant to, let's say, or for real estate reasons. What we discovered lately was that it's quite interesting from the HR point of view. And we started to realize that back in October, I actually personally received a phone call from an HR manager of a big local company. They don't, and I said, the guy said, okay, I need to bring to you, I want to bring to you 40 people. Like, why? What kind of issues do you have with your current space, right? Real estate reasons. It's like, no, we are 110 or 20 people in a building of 10,000 square meters. So they have no real estate issues, right? Then why do you want to bring those 40 people to us? And the answer was interesting. Just to get them out of their current office, to change their environment, to help them for like a couple of months, put them in a different office, different environment for creativity and productivity. And that's what I did. And right now, actually, co-working or flex office becomes very, very interesting to HR managers, right? Everybody knows that recruiting and retention is not done on
money-based
on salaries anymore. Yeah. Everything is about extras, benefits. What other benefits can I have as an employee?
And experiences, right? And I think this is a great experience to actually outsource the offices for a while and put your...
Absolutely. So suddenly, right, we know that companies invest a lot of money into fit out. Different rooms and games and breakfast, whatever, right? However, the workspace becomes extremely important. And actually, Mindspace had a research done last year. And there were two very interesting numbers that are quite cool, actually. And it was done on 5,000 people. Okay, so quite a lot. So 34% of the people said that they're not engaged in their workplace because of financial reasons. Which, okay, makes sense, right? And I don't think that's a surprise. However, so that's 34%, right? 35% of the people said that they're not engaged because they don't like the work environment. Which, again, makes a lot of sense. You don't enjoy coming to work, yeah, you are not going to be as engaged as maybe you should be. You're not happy, you are not going to be involved. So workspace is extremely important. And this is why companies right now are looking at these type of spaces, right, the flex offices, as benefits. For example, they come in and say, I want to rent just an office of 10 or 20 people, right, for 10, 20 people. Just like we have work from home, right, that concept, we want to offer the employees the opportunity to work from Mindspace as a benefit, right? If you have the office in whatever, west side of the city, okay, why not, offer the employees an office for a meeting or just workspace in a place in the center or in a different area. And with that high-end design, and really what makes the difference is the vibe. It's all about a vibe.
And it's also the networking. I think it's a big value of in the networking, on the networking side there. Because I see people talking to each other, mingling. I don't know, sometimes even new businesses are coming out of some discussions there. I know some cases.
It's all about flexibility and community. So community is an important factor of what we do, since it's dozens of companies together, if it's big, if it's small, but since you have multiple people from different industries, and people come out, and people have their own private offices, but they also have the common areas that you can sit, you can work, you can rest, you can have meetings in, you can do whatever you want in those, and you meet people. And with that, it's just the feeling and the vibe is important, and yes, the community, the networking is important. And talking about startups, yes, that is a great opportunity, and we see that. We do have companies in Mindspace that started to collaborate because they just met in Mindspace. And something very cool that we do is that on a weekly basis, we have a happy hour. So when you have food and drinks, oh, there you go. Well,
so what do you serve there?
So
drinks, alcohol, what is that?
It's every week there's something else. You know, the Mindspace staff is just coming up with ideas every single week. And you've got food and drinks. And we all know that when it's about food and drinks, everybody comes out. So, and we know we've got, usually there's music in the background. When there's a happy hour, we just turn it louder. And it's just fun. So people get to know each other. Again, to create that vibe, that environment, the networking that comes as a result of that. So everything happens. It's just a cool, fun environment in which you have tons of people working privately or together. And this is the cool thing.
It's really fun. And because we are out of time, I know Mike wanted to have some question for you, but we will change the prices. Mike, just tell us what would you like to give them as a prize, and maybe we can give them to those that will pitch today.
Sure.
At the end. So what's the price for them?
Well, it's a day in Mindspace.
A day in Mindspace.
It's a day in Mindspace. Choose
experience.
the location. Full day. Work from Mindspace. Experience it. Have fun. You want to take advantage of the happy hour? Then I suggest you come on a Thursday or Friday.
I guess
and ask ahead of
everybody's
time.
invited.
What's that?
I guess everybody is invited for the happy hour.
Of course. No, this is actually true. Happy hours are really open, and we encourage those. Again, we do like people to come in and just feel the vibe. It's all about a vibe. Once you're there, you really understand what it means to work from such a space. I can talk about it forever. If you're not there, it's a little bit hard to understand. So it's part of it. But
so
yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mike, Mindspace. If you
Happy
pitch,
hour
we will
us.
have one day at Mindspace, happy hour. You can visit Oven InnovX. Thank you very much, Mike. Thank you very much, Madalina.
Thank you so much, Mike. Thank you.
Thank you.